You're listening to The Broken Meeple Show, a podcast that speaks passionately about board games for the benefit of those who play them. My name's Luke Hector, best known for the Broken Meeple YouTube channel, and I'm an everyday gamer just like you. And I'll be talking about reviews, top 10s, and just about anything that connects me to board games. As long as I have a tea or coffee in hand, that is. So grab a cup, relax, and enjoy. And remember, it's only a game. Hi everyone, Luke Hector here for another podcast, and yeah, I've been struggling to think of ideas to talk about lately, at least ideas that people actually want to hear about, despite the everything that's going on in the industry right now. But yeah, you know, if you've subscribed to my Patreon, then you'll see a message has popped up for those in the, I believe it's the cracked meeple and above category, which basically allows you to come in and just submit your own ideas. And I can't guarantee I can do them all, or that they will all appeal to me, but I appreciate the thoughts and engagement. And sometimes people come up with absolute belters that make for good, fun episodes. So, you know, it's nice to hear your thoughts. I like to do some of these chats, on your behalf, because after all, you're the ones who help keep this channel going. And so, yeah, by all means, check out that list, and I'll probably stick another one up soon for, certain tiers for top 10 list ideas, although I do want to also try some other ideas on the channel as well. I mean, I'm doing these digital playthroughs, more on that in a minute, and I want to try some of those live stream tier lists. The one that's where it's like best Arc Nova maps and stuff like that. The only problem I'm finding with trying to do something with the tier maker stuff is that you have to, if you haven't got a template, you have to use you basically have to create it yourself, which means getting all the image files. Now, I don't know where I can find image files for every single Arc Nova map so that I can show on screen what it is I'm talking about, for example, when I'm trying to rate them in tier A, tier B, or whatever. So it's a little bit weird, and I don't want it to take me forever to start having to populate like image files and stuff, but I'm not that familiar with Tier Maker. I've only used it once or twice before on this channel, and it's changed its sort of formatting a little bit, so maybe I'll find something. If there's anybody who's an expert with Tier Maker and wants to, just lend me your thoughts, then by all means, but yeah, I'm looking into doing stuff like that. Generally, health-wise and work-wise, pretty good, actually. I mean, I'm fully recovered from all that rubbish at the end of June, so, that's long since gone. The throat, still takes a bit of time when you're talking lots and that, but to be honest, I don't think that was really related to that. I think that's just an ongoing problem I have. My vocal cords are nowhere near as strong as they used to be. But the last, few weeks have been good. I mean, Manorcon was obviously recently, which I talked about in the last episode, so I look forward to that next year. Gen Con's happening, or has happened. I didn't really keep up much with Gen Con because obviously I don't go to it, but Essen will now start being the focus. I'm already expected, I think, to help out to Dranda Games again for this period, so I should be on their booth. I don't no idea what I'd be demoing. I'm hoping more than just Jackpot. I mean, Jackpot's a fine game and all, but it would be nice to actually demo more than one game. But, at least it's something that I look forward to. They're a good bunch of people. It saves me money on, accommodation, and we get to, eat dinner together and just chat and have fun. It's a good fun little group to be on the booth with, and it just, as I say, mitigates some of my costs for Essen, which is definitely getting more and more expensive each time. But it's also good for transportation as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Essen. I mean, the preview list that I did briefly on the last episode revealed that there may be more in this convention that I previously had, in terms of games I'm interested in. I mean, obviously I'm going to be beelining for stuff like the SETI expansion, that's just a given, but there's other stuff there that caught my attention, so who knows. And at the end of the day, it's a good social time. There is going to be, well, I'll get on to Essen a little bit in a sec, but yeah, generally health-wise fine. Back to the gym and just trying to keep in shape, which is difficult. Some foot pains, certain muscles are a bit on the tender side, and that. I think it's because they, well, I don't know. It's hard to say. I've been to a physio, and they seem to think that my right leg is slightly weaker than my left. My calf muscles maybe not worked enough. Perhaps I've just been doing the wrong thing on leg exercises. Who knows? But I've got exercises to do, and hopefully that will improve over time, but nothing major really. The work-wise, actually, work's been getting a lot better lately. I mean, the stuff that's happened over the past year is tailing off, and by the end of September, maybe even earlier, it will be gone completely. So, that's already something for me to look forward to. But the summer has just generally been quite a much easier period. There's still work to do, plenty of stuff to keep you occupied, but it doesn't feel anywhere near as rushed or stressful as before. A lot of people are going on holiday because they've got kids and they do this around July and August. I don't. I went on that cruise in June, more under protest. I wanted to go on that cruise, but I really would have liked to have gone somewhere sometime other than the summer holidays, despite escaping the heat wave. And so a lot of people are away, which makes the office quite quiet. It's pleasant to be in, and the workload is manageable. It's like perfectly fine. There's only so much that takes place in the summer. It's my least busy period in the entire year for what I do. And last year I remember it being so stressful, so horrible. This stuff happened at work. It made it more stressful, but even then I just remember being worked to death. And yet this year it doesn't feel quite the same comparative wise, and it feels comfortable, manageable. And I'm just like, this is a nice feeling. It's nice when work actually is like that. Granted, it's not all rum and roses. I had to go to Oxford last week, and travelling to Oxford is a nightmare from my end of the neck of the woods, so that was not particularly great. But and I got to go to Newbury again this week as well. But otherwise, generally fine. I mean, I'm, just plodding through life as I do in the summer holidays. The summer holidays is kind of boring for me because I don't like to travel. I don't like to do too much. It's too hot. I get ill, and things like that. And it's just like, get out of the summer. I'm just looking forward to September onwards. Although, with climate change and everything, the seasons aren't exactly stable, are they? I mean, we'll get to September, but it's not like it'll cool down amazingly. We could still have some pretty hot September weather, but September still is usually milder. But yeah, as soon as we start getting to late September, October, temperature becomes a lot more pleasant for me. I mean, autumn is usually my favorite season of the year, I think, is autumn, because it cools down enough that I'm willing to wear my wool coat, in a breeze and that, but it's not too cold, it's not too hot, it's still reasonably sunny. You get nice, landscapes with leaves, turning brown and reds and stuff. I mean, green's my favorite color, yes, but, I can sacrifice my favorite color from the summer in light of it being cooler. And yeah, the autumn's just generally a nice period. And I do a lot, Essen and Shape, Battle and Roll and GridCon, and another HandyCon. There's a lot of conventions happen in the autumn as well. And TV gets good, films get good. There's I'm looking forward to the Demon Slayer movie coming to the UK in September. Can't wait to watch that. Certain animes that I watch, like My Hero Academia, start in the fall, as the fall or autumn, whichever way you want to put it, as well. And yeah, I'm just looking forward. I look forward to a lot of stuff in the autumn. The summer for me is just, for the most part, kind of dull and uncomfortable, really. But yeah, all well. Pretty good. Yeah, kind of just a little bit chirpy. It was probably a good change, especially as gaming wise. I got a few things in the post that have certainly caught my eye. I mean, obviously I've messed around with the Lost Ruins of Arnak chest. I've now got that great storage solution for my Lost Ruins of Arnak collection. It's brilliant. It keeps everything neat. Everything's easy to find. Setup is really quick. I'm not going to do a review video on it because it's a limited edition release, so it's not like you can really get it after a while. But if you are expecting your chest soon, then you've got something to look forward to. I give it a recommendation. But also I've had some interesting stuff through the post for looking at all the South Tigris expansions have come through the post now from Garfield Games, including this Moon Saga thing, which I'm currently working through now. I've just started with the Wayfarers start of the Moon Saga. It's a multiplayer campaign, but you can play a certain storybook version of it solo. So I'm just trying it because I've never tried the other Moon Sagas, because you need to enjoy all 3 games in the saga in the West Kingdom and the North Sea in order to do those ones, but there was always one black sheep that I didn't particularly like. So in this South Tigris, because I like all 3 games, I wanted to give it a try and just see if it's worth the hassle, worth the idea of doing 6 games of these, 2 of each. But it's also given me a good chance to play through the actual expansions themselves. I've, today I will play through Wayfarers of the South Tigris with the expansion that's come through. Yesterday I was at a game day and I actually played a multiplayer game of Scholars of the South Tigris with the Book of Days expansion. I won't say too much because I need to play through it more, but suffice to say, initial thoughts are very, very good in terms of customization, sandboxy nature, giving you more paths to victory and all that lot. It's in the middle in terms of complexity. It adds a little bit of complexity, but not too much, so it's still reasonably all right to integrate for those who are familiar with the game. Maybe it might be crossing a line for those who are new to the game, though. Maybe don't include it at that point. But the only negative side so far is that it does make the game longer. and it wasn't exactly a short game beforehand, because the stuff in the expansion does not accelerate the game timer. So if you're distracted doing that, you're not accelerating the game, even though you can do more stuff. And the fact that you can do more stuff between rests is another thing that elongates the game. We played an epic length 4-player game. I kind of recommend you only play it with casual length if you're using the expansion. The book doesn't say this, but that's my recommendation. And we'll see what the inventors of the South Tigris one is later. But yes, I will do Beyond the Base Game videos for all of those expansions. They will be separate videos, done in quick succession, short videos for each. I don't want to do one video for them all because, well, YouTube algorithm and all, yeah, it's more content. But yeah, there will be a Beyond the Base Game video for each of the Wayfarers expansions, and I'll probably do a small one for the Moon Saga as well. So that's 4 videos that I'll put out. So something to look forward to if you're a Garfield Games fan. Just give me time to play through 6 games of all of these Tigresses solo. It's hard to find the time. But anything else? Oh yes, I've also got one of these little curious things this week. So normally I don't like to do things like product placements or anything like that. I'm usually a bit against that. But if they are cool and if they're board gaming related, I don't mind doing like Instagram posts and that. Maybe a small video, but maybe Instagram stuff. I did it with Buy the Same Token, I think it's called, who gave me like the really nice stuff for Star Wars Outer Rim. But I've just had these sent through. This is a pickup. And you might have seen it on Facebook, sort of blasted around. It's certainly been advertised quite a bit. This is essentially the little vacuum device that comes in a cool little pod. I mean, this is a brand new product. I've got another black one downstairs, but this is the white one. I'm trying to unwrap it on the podcast. Maybe I should have actually opened it in advance. Would that have been a bit more intelligent? I don't know, but here we go. So you won't be able to see it on the thing, but yeah, it's this cool little sort of ridged pod thing. It's got a little sucker at the bottom, silicone thing, and the idea is that you basically, you can hear that sound effect. It essentially is one that you can use to pick up cards on the table. You will have seen adverts for it, and I've been given a few to test out, so I'm going to test it out and I'll give you my thoughts at a later time. But yeah, they look cool. They're produced quite well by the looks of it, and I like the nice little carry pod that you can have it. Maybe it's a complete gimmick. Maybe it's just a cheesy little gimmick. I don't know, but I'm curious to see more on this one. But do not let that be a thing of sending me emails saying, please look at all my product placements, because I mean, I'm already rolling my eyes. The amount of Kickstarter emails I get. Seriously, guys, look, if you watch my channel, you know I don't do a lot of Kickstarter stuff, all right? You've got preview channels for that. I am very choosy what I do with Kickstarter stuff. You will have noticed that jackpot one from Dranda Games. People have been talking about that one, Paul Grogan and Mark Monk and all that lot. Why have I not been? Well, because I don't really do Kickstarter stuff. I like other people that preview stuff. I want to talk about stuff when it's fully released. Proper retail release. I don't like inflating the FOMO thing of, like everybody must get it now, pay money on Kickstarter. It's like, that's not my style. So, I'm getting a little bit annoyed with a lot of these emails that come through via the Facebook Messenger or an Instagram from people who clearly don't watch the channel, because if they did, they would know my stance on this front. And they're just sending in saying, hey, the Broken Meeple team, or hey, I love your stuff. Your videos are great. Would you care to look at my little indie Kickstarter that I built in my garage the last 2 years or something? That's a Take That game about, cats fighting dogs or something. I don't know, just an example. But that's not what I do on this channel, and if you watch the show, you would know that. So, honestly, stop sending me those. I only do Kickstarter stuff, very choosy, and it's usually for the very, very big publishers, and it's usually if I'm really that interested in the game. I do some stuff for Awakened Realms and Glass Cannon Unplugged, and is probably going to get me involved with something like Don't Starve, and Mood Publishing. We will look to do something with Valheim in Essen. I think it's getting released at Essen, I'm not sure. Or is it just more stuff happening in Essen? I can't remember. But, I looked at Deep Rock Galactic. They're going to get me to look at Valheim, and I'm looking forward to that. But even Don't Starve, and I play Don't Starve as a video game. I used to anyway, not anymore. But, but I would happily pick up again if the mates wanted to play it. But yeah, I've got an interest in said game. Therefore, I could be more choosy about doing something like that for a Kickstarter related video. But I'm not going to just do some random Kickstarter video, so please stop emailing me like that, please. It's just annoying. And I hate having to be the one to sort of respond back going, sorry, I don't do this stuff. Good luck with the thing. It's just like, You know, come on, guys. It is hot in this room, God blimey. Without the windows and stuff like that, it is getting warm. But yeah, so yeah, that was a bit of a long intro, longer intro than I thought. So in terms of the channel, yeah, 26364 subscribers, not doing too bad. I've started to do playthroughs, so I put 2 Ark Nova digital playthroughs up. One of them was the important one, and the other one was a cock up in terms of my recording the footage in 1080p for a StreamYard, which is the maximum resolution it can do for cheap, but ending up with a situation where I recorded it on a 4K screen, so it went into letterbox format, but I didn't want to scrap the footage, so I basically just said, yeah, you know what, you can have it. You know, you can have both videos, enjoy yourself, have fun. And yeah, that should be pretty sweet overall. But these playthroughs really don't bring in the views, and this is the reason why I haven't really done them much in the past. I mean, Pagola is like 1700, which is pretty low for a review, but then it's a light game, so heavy gamers will scoff their noses at it. You know, they'll go, "No, I don't want to play the little sissy little kiddies game." It's like, oh, well, it's a good game, so watch the video. But Vantage, yep, that one's come out since. The big one, the Stonemeyer hyped up train like crazy. And I've played it, 7,000 views. It's certainly got its fair share of people, 94%. 94% like factor is actually higher than I would have expected, because there's a lot of people who love Stonemeyer games to death in like Vantage. But you might be surprised at my verdict for this one. But it does have pros, it does have cons. So, you know, watch your hype train when you're looking at Vantage. But I give you a very detailed video of my thoughts, but that is 47 minutes. There is a lot to talk about in this video, and, you know, you may be surprised at the outcome. So, you know, by all means, check out that video if you want to know more about the Vantage game. But yeah, the digital playthroughs, I mean, 600 and 400 views, and they've been out since August the 8th. They just don't bring in the views. Now, digital playthroughs aren't the most taxing in the world. I mean, I'm still dabbling with the whole gotta get the setup right, gotta get the mic right, because it's very difficult to test whether everything's going to work out all right when you do a digital playthrough, because you know, if you spend ages recording test sessions, it's going to take forever to do the video, but it still takes a good couple of hours to just get the footage and then edit it, and then probably more to sort of stick it up in that. So it's not the shortest videos to do, and they don't bring in the views. Maybe if I do them live stream, they would bring in a few more, but it's hard to say. But I still like to do those because it's just a way for you to watch me play some games. I show off a Steam app, and I just get to have fun playing a game as well. So I'll still do them. It just would be nice if they could get more traction, but I don't know why they don't get a lot of traction, really. I mean, people do playthroughs in tabletop form all the time, and they get a decent amount of views, but I guess people just aren't as interested in digital versions. I mean, you know, if I could do tabletop playthroughs, I would, but I just don't see it happening. I mean, a friend of mine is trying to get me to work out a setup where it can work, and I just can't seem to do it. I mean, it either requires too much tech that I don't know enough about, or it requires too much effort that I just don't have the time to put into doing them. You know, to do playthroughs really does require you to spend your entire time on a channel doing nothing but playthroughs. Which is why, really, you should do one or the other. You do playthroughs or you do reviews. You shouldn't do both. And so it's very difficult to do them sometimes. Anyway, time to get on with the show. I know there's a couple of other things that I know people want me to chat about. Ark Nova Free Edition, I've had a look at that Kickstarter. It's showing as still not launched. I thought it had launched, but apparently it's now showing as launching within 9 days. It's kind of odd, but I've had a look at the Ark Nova Free Edition Kickstarter, and I mean, it's cool, but I'm not that desperate to upgrade all that stuff for there, because it's just too much money. It really is, and it might have the same problem that the Earth Deluxe resources have, because I've got those deluxe resources, and they're fun, but mainly I use them when I play solo, because those plastic canopy trees, the oversized trees, do block your view of other people's cards quite easily, and I'm just worried that these like buildings will do the same thing, that they'll just block too much on your board. But even then, they cost so much money, and I just don't think it need it. I mean, if you want to do it, fine. If you're like the Terraforming Mars people who blinged up their copies, then fine, but it's one of those luxuries that if I feel like I would want, I don't know if I would want it. You know, I mean, they've not approached, you know, me to say, oh, yeah, you know, we love your review. Please have a look at our product. You know, I would have been interested if they had. But yeah, I don't know. It just sounds like it's a lot of money for just basically a cosmetic blingness. And I don't think I need to bling my game quite that much. Anyway, so let's get on to the topic of the show. Thank you to Matthew Bailey for this suggestion all the way back in February. Basically, I was thinking I would do a proper video for this, but given that I'm out of podcast ideas, I thought I would just do it here. And basically, this is the Board Game Geek Top 100. Now, the Board Game Geek database is something I use purely as a database, occasionally for finding out rules reference sheets, player aids, dividers, stuff like that, and maybe on a blue moon joining a couple of forums. But for the most part, Board Game Geek is a flawed system. It's not the most robust database in the world. The voting systems on here in terms of what gets ranked high and all that are completely prone to exploitation, and when it comes to the forums, it is blatant that there is a huge bias by the people who run this group as to what is typically focused on. But that being said, it's still a database and it still has its uses. So Matthew Bailey suggested I go through the Board Game Geek thing 10 at a time and give my thoughts on each one. Well, if I do 10 at a time or even 20 at a time, it's going to take me God knows how long to finish this series. So I figured I'm just going to go through the entire BGG Top 100. But I'm going to do it in a sort of semi-fast mode. I'm not going to say very much on each game at all, but I'm going to give my brief thoughts on each entry in the Top 100 of Board Game Geek. So now, and then the other reason is also because it means I can have it fixed. This is the 10th of August 2025, Board Game Geek Top 100. If I span it over multiple weeks, the Board Game Geek Top 100 will actually change by the time I get to another session, so it's going to throw all the numbers off. When you do one of these, you really do have to tackle it in the same video in order to get the timing right. Sorry for the jingling, it's ice in my drink. It is hot in here. Oh, come on, autumn. Where's my lovely autumn? So yeah, I'm just going to go through and I'll give my thoughts, good and bad. Now, obviously, I have not played every single game in the top 100, but then again, neither of you. So, or at least I hope neither of you. But, there's a good chunk of them here that I have played. Some I may have only played a couple of times, maybe even only once. Some I own, so... this will just give you some insights into what's in the Board Game Geek Top 100 and what I think of them. So, we're going to start with, let's see, we'll basically open a new screen every time I do it and go from there. Now, obviously, you can't see any rankings on here because this is my, my dummy account that I use when I'm doing these videos, so that people can't just look at all these ranking symbols, ranking numbers that appear on the screen and start making comments and stuff. It's like, this just keeps everything nice and neutral, so you're not going to see those ahead of time. Plus, also, spoilers. Anyway, so Lords of Waterdeep, number 100. I like Lords of Waterdeep. I don't own my copy anymore, though. I sold it. It's a product of its time. It works fine. It's a half-decent game. Well, half-decent. It's fairly decent. It's light. It's worker placement, and it was one of the first ones that sort of I played when I got into gaming. But yeah, it just feels kind of dated. You need the expansion to really get the fullness out of it, and even then, the corruption mechanic is easily exploited in terms of, oh yeah, look, I'm really heavily corrupted, and by the end of the game, you just somehow vindicated yourself in full without any problems. And it makes the game longer, and it doesn't need to be long. And I still don't like the mandatory quests. I think the mandatory quests in this system is a flawed idea, but you can't really easily... Well, I suppose you could take them out, but nobody wants to take them out. People want to leave them in. It's just... They're an annoying nuisance. I mean, they can be a nuisance or they can cripple somebody's game. It's not a good system idea. It's not a good mechanic. But yeah, I liked it fine. I had a blinged up copy, but eventually it was just never getting played. Other people own it. Libraries have it, and I just thought... Meh, I'm kind of done with it now. So, good game, but I mean, I suppose it deserves top 100, but it's done. It's the product of its time. El Grande I have still not played. This is 99, and I have not played any version of this, old or new, but this is on my list of games I would like to play. I don't know if I would like it, though, because... I mean, it's bone dry, first kick-off. The card system, though, sounds pretty cool. I like the way the card system works, but it is basically an area control game. A definitive, dry area control game. The new version looks a bit better than the old version. The old version looks like any other beige Euro, but I just don't know if I really want to play a area control game that's basically putting cubes on the map and controlling areas. It's just, I don't think that's going to give me enough enjoyment, regardless. But, especially for like a 2-hour game. And I think you need to play this with a lot of players, which means even more time. I would still try it, but... I think my excitement to try it has waned over time because I just never see it being played. I mean, once in a blue moon, I'll see this on a table, and I do mean a blue moon. You know, like the stars need to align. But whenever it's been out on retail release, I've never been tempted to buy it just to try it out. It's like I want to try it first, and area control is just not one of my favorite mechanics. Area control in a game is not something I look forward to, and this game is just nothing but area control. So I have a feeling I'll play it and just be like, meh. I mean, it gives me, the board basically just gives me a certain vibe, like the King is Dead and that, and the King is Dead is a much shorter area control game, and I think is probably good enough for me when it comes to area control. But yeah, 99, El Grande. It's a classic, but just maybe not a classic for me, who knows. Zaon's End, I am surprised that this is there. 98, I better go a bit faster because I think my throat's going to last otherwise. So I'll try and keep these much shorter. Zaon's End, it's kind of like a rival to Sentinels in the Multiverse. It's a fantasy deck builder, so it's got some subtle differences. I liked it okay. It was a nice idea, but it was incredibly fiddly. I mean, people give Sentinels in the Multiverse crap for being fiddly. This one had, with these little portal cards and the turn order sequence, particularly in a free player and stuff. This game used to go on for ages. It definitely had a high luck factor because of the deck building aspect, and it was just like, cool blimey, it was just a bit of a chaotic mess at times. It's not a bad game, but, when people were sort of going, oh, is this better than Sentinels in the Multiverse? I'm like, no, it just isn't. It's fine, but I didn't really get into it as much. Oh god, Eclipse 2, Dawn for the Galaxy. Oh, I don't care what tagline you put it. This is 97, and I hate Eclipse. This is garbage. I hate this game with a passion. No matter how many times I've tried it to try and give it a chance, it just fails every time. And the first time I tried it in a 6-player format, big epic game in its first edition, I want my 6, 7, 8 hours back, or however long that took. That was hell. That was utter hell. I just don't like this game at all. It is not even, I wouldn't even call it a spacefaring exploration game. This is basically balance your checkbook in space, with spacey themes. I mean, you could retheme this to anything and it would still work. And, it looks horrible. Even in its second edition, it looks pretty garbage. And it's got technology that arrives randomly. Like, it's random technology that you may randomly get. It's like, what? That doesn't make sense. And, it's quite punishing. It takes forever. It's a Euro cube pushing game dressed up with a space theme, and I detest it. This is definitely in like I don't know if it'd be top 10, but it's definitely in kind of like my top 25 like hated games. I just do not like this one at all. I don't get what the appeal of it is. Sorry. I mean, come on. My promo in the Kienda promo has the Eclipse bit there where I say, they've got Kienda in stock. Actually, that game is pretty terrible. I hate it. But you might like it. It's there as a joke. That's how much it doesn't appeal to me. Wingspan Asia. This is another way of showing that the Board Game Geek Top 100 is a biased and completely broken system at times. Why do these games get multiple headings? Wingspan's going to be further up the list, people. Wingspan Asia is literally an expansion. It is a standalone expansion that you can play with 2 players. That is literally what the Wingspan Asia is. If Wingspan is good, you'll like Wingspan Asia. That's it. And Wingspan Asia is probably one of the weaker expansions anyway. The 2-player mode, I'm not interested in. I don't tend to play Wingspan solo. It's got that flock mode where you can play it with 6 to 7 players, which is absolute garbage. Who the hell cried out to play Wingspan with 6 to 7 players? I mean, seriously, what kind of quaaludes were you on when you thought that was something we wanted to do? I mean, who likes even playing it with 5? But 6 and 7? Everybody I've spoken to in real life who has played that flock mode is like, what the hell are they thinking? But yeah, it's Wingspan. I love Wingspan, but this is a weakish expansion. There are a few overpowered bird cards in this expansion, which do really basically jumpstart people's games when they come out. I had a similar situation the last week where somebody got a particular bird that is worth a bunch of points, but it let you score a bonus card immediately, yet still keep it for the end. That was like that basically was an 18-point bird. Absolute broken. So, that was insane. But yeah, it's a 2-player expansion. It shouldn't be on this list. Fields of Arle, 95. I am really shocked that this is... we'll see. Maybe I'll do Board Game Geek 50. Maybe I'll do 50 at a time or something. I think 100 might be pushing it. Maybe I just got to be a lot quicker. Fields of Arle, love it. It's a great... big Euro. It's on my shelf full of bits. This is the ultimate sandbox Euro. You want to, raise a farm, grow flax, breed cattle, breed sheep, clear peat, build tools, cook bread, build buildings, fish for fish, gather peat, build a wagon, go trade with neighbors. I mean, make clothes, export and import. You want it, this game has it. This is the ultimate sandbox Uwe Rosenberg Euro, and I friggin' love it. I love the options this game gives me. I mean, you only really play it with 2, the expansion does 3. I pretty much play this as a solo game for the most part. It's just the ultimate sandbox Euro, and oh man, this is like my creme de la creme of Uwe Rosenberg stuff. Right, yeah, I'm going to try and go a bit faster. Clank, deck building adventure. I'm not the biggest fan of Clank. It's all right. It's a half decent deck builder, but the original game, you know, I remember playing it once and tried to rush the game, and it basically forced me to wait ages for everyone else to finish and have fun. And then it didn't, you know, give me any points for getting out first. So it was like, well, what was the point in that then? I mean, it's an okay game, but it's not a game that I'm that desperate for. I think there are better deck builders out there, and this is just another meh one. Yeah, I'm going to go a bit quicker now. Let's try and actually speed through these things. All right, Darwin's Journey. Not a fan. I've played it a couple of times, and I just found this kind of dull and boring. It's another one of these Euro games that is just... I mean, it's Simone Luciani, who, let's face it, he may be a nice guy, but he really doesn't make a lot of games that I'm into. He makes a couple. There's a couple I like. I think he did Golem. Newton. I think there's Simone Luciani games. Let me have a look. Golem. Yep, Golem and Newton. Yeah, so he did those 2. I like those 2, and I suppose Zolkin is half decent, but yeah, generally he makes games that I'm not that desperate for. And this one about Charles Darwin and whatever theme it wanted to paste on here, I didn't like this one. It's very boring. I mean, it doesn't look interesting from the board. There were certain actions, like over here on the left, where apparently you're supposed to be able to upgrade your actions or something, but I barely see that used. This little weird Euro mechanic for the sake of Euro mechanics, storage thing with the artifacts. And then I really I didn't like these islands. You know, you traipse over these little islands and get little tokens, but one of your actions, like your turn, could literally just be to move your ship one space along this blue track, so you can access other stuff. While everyone else takes forever on their turn, you're just moving a ship along a track as a turn. I mean, that's not fun. I didn't get this one. I just found it boring and dull, which, to be fair, you know, is still better than some of his designs that leave me angry and frustrated. But yeah, this one, I don't get it. Revive. It's a decent game. I enjoyed it more first. I think it's gone down for me over time. But I do think that this one was overrated like crazy. I mean, the new one, their new game by these designers or something coming out of Essen has got the most funds from the preview list. Well, can you believe it? Because all the heavy gamers ate this one up like crazy. I mean, it's got some cool stuff. I mean, this board with all the tech upgrades was pretty sweet, and the card system was cool. I mean, I like the stuff you did on your player board. The stuff on the map, I think, was the weak element here. Because the card system was limited, but it was still quite fun and cool. And the tech trees I like. But the stuff on the map with putting your meeples out and exploring these different hexes and getting the different point scoring things, it was alright, but I don't know. It's just kind of like, it's above average for me. It's a fine game. It's not a bad game. It does take a while. It's a bit of a long game, but it does cause a colonic come out of AP in people. Some of these scoring conditions are outright broken. You know, some of them are definitely a lot better than others, for damn sure. And you know, it adds this weird little solo campaign that was meant to teach you the game in a bunch of easy steps. Why bother? Just throw everything in. You really don't need it. It just seemed like a really cheesy gimmick. I mean, it's a fine game. It's okay. You know, I don't mind it, but it got hyped to like high heaven, and I do think it was overrated, but it's okay. I don't mind the game, but yeah, I'm not that excited for the next game as a result. All right, there's no way I'm going to get through all 100 of these in one video. Maybe we'll do 50. We'll try to do 50. I mean, the list can't shift that much by then. I'll try to get to 50, and then next session I'll do the other 50. Okay, so we'll make this a 2-session thing. 5 Tribes, 91. I still like 5 Tribes. I haven't played it in a while, but it is a solid game. I do like the sort of, is it Mancala it's used? But yeah, the Mancala mechanic on here where you pick up the meeples and then dot them around and pick up other meeples. I mean, it's dry as a bone, but you know, with the expansions, particularly the last one or something, you know, there are some cool little extra strategies you can throw in. But yeah, I just find this quite a fun game. The only problem is that it's really AP inducing. I mean, playing this with 4 players can be a chore, but what people forget in this game is that your early moves are not that important. It's the later moves that are important, because in the early game, most of what you do will have such a small differential in points, then you shouldn't be getting too worked up about it. Later on, when there's less options, that's when they become more important. The problem is, everybody keeps freezing early. And also bidding for turtle I found was a bit weird. Like, nobody bids stupidly high numbers for turn order because it's just not worth it. So, and I have to admit, bidding for turn order is another mechanic that I'm just not that big a fan of in games. Some of the genie powers, cool, a little overpowered at times, but you know, not too bad. And I've still got the first edition of this game. I don't think I even replaced the components in it. You know, remember that controversy? I think I've still got the original one, but at the end of the day, I haven't played it in a while. It's still on my shelf. I do like it, but just haven't had the need to bring this one out. But it's a solid game. Probably not top 100 material, but hey. Alright. Great Western Trail New Zealand 90. Oh, cold blimey. Yeah, the one that is still the enigma in games. I hated the first edition of Great Western Trail. I've still not played Argentina. I've played the second edition of the original Great Western Trail with the expansion. It's fine, but I think the expansion just pigeonholes you too much into that aspect. It's, you know, it's a better game, but it's still flawed. Something about New Zealand just clicked, though. I played this the other night with friends of mine. We played it on Friday night, and I decimated with a full shepherd strategy. Like, nothing else. I didn't get any other workers. I just focused on shepherds the whole game, and built a building that got me a load of money for having shepherds and stuff, and, yeah, decimated the others. But, yeah, something about this one just works. The way it flows, all the options, having 4 characters, not 3, the fact that the game still will end after it's a longer game than the others, but the other games don't know when they want to end. This one knows when it wants to end, so at least it's predictable. You know, but yeah, I just really love this. We have a blast playing it. I try something different each time, and it just clicked. Something about it fixed problems with the original, and I think it's the fact that you've got more options with more characters. The customization of your board is better. I like the additional cards that come into play, these unique cards that you can get to, you know, strategize to pad up your deck and whatever, and some of them are specially selected each game. Some of them are, you know, in every game, but they're cool to have. And yeah, this one just worked. And perhaps sheep are better than cows, I don't know. But yeah, it's still an enigma. Even the solo mode's pretty good at this. It's just a great game. This is the one that's on my shelf with an insert, blinged up. I don't get it either. I've hated Great Western Trail for so long, but New Zealand just clicks. Something about it. Whatever it happened, it fixed. Whatever it added good stuff. And as a result, it's made a really great game. You know, I don't get it either. Just accept it. I mean, you wanted me to like a Great Western Trail. I like this one. I would still like to try Argentina, though, although I've been warned a lot against it. Well, we'll see. Let's see. 89 Azul. It's had its time. It's fine, but it's best at 2 players. It's too... You can't... Playing it with more players is pointless. It's too chaotic. It's fine. All the spin-offs were completely unnecessary. I didn't like a lot of the spin-offs. The original is still the best. It's an okay 2-player game. I like it, but I don't think it's amazing. I think it's probably a bit overrated, but I haven't seen... Azul was played everywhere for a point. I haven't seen Azul played in, like, over a year. You know, this thing has come and gone, it seems. But yeah, it's fine. It's a decent enough gateway game, but I liked it, but I was never a massive fan. Blood on the Clock Tower. Oh, God, 88. Man, do I hate this game. I have tried, guys, to like this. I roll my eyes when I keep seeing it being played, you know, sucking away all the players at the club, you know, leaving us with no one to actually play with. It doesn't know whether it wants to end in 30 minutes or 2 hours, according to this, although I've seen it go on for, like, longer than 2 hours. You know, this, I just do not like this. I like social deduction games, but I've got some choice ones at the moment that I think are much better, like Deception and Werewords and stuff. This one, I just don't get. This is just Werewolf. It's Werewolf with extra steps, but the extra steps make it more chaotic, more random, more like unpredictable. And people sort of like, they go into a room, you can hear the noise, and then they all flood out into the game rooms with little pieces of paper in groups of 2 or 3 going, oh, I think this, or it could be this, or it could be this. And it's like, excuse me, I'm trying to play a game here. You know, can you not hang around the table constantly muttering about which cultist went for the witch who, you know, mated with Jack and Jill, who went up the hill to the house that Jack built? I don't know. It's for crying out loud. And It's a stupidly expensive. I mean, what's this thing cost? Like 150 quid just to basically get a giant oversized case with some tokens in it? I don't know. I don't get this. Why did this one? I mean, even Werewolf never used to be this popular, and yet this one is. And now another game called Sprawl or whatever. I've seen some people playing it. I think it's like something that's going to come out in the future. And it's basically just this with extra steps. People are now just going to copycat Werewolf and this and basically claim it's their fantastic new social deduction system. It's not. I honestly don't get it. Guys, I've tried. I have played this multiple times at multiple conventions. I have tried to play it. I have played it, but I've tried to enjoy it. And I can't. I mean, whether you die early and have nothing else interesting to do, or you're stuck there for 2 hours waiting for this game to end, I don't like it. I'm sorry. I think this is a bad game, and for some reason, the conventions and all that won't shut up about it. But fine, if it gets people engaged at a community and stuff like that, then who am I to stop them doing it? But, go ahead and play it. Just stay in a quiet room by yourselves or whatever. Stop disturbing the rest of us and just don't make me play it again. All right. Race for the Galaxy, 87. It's fine, but I never really got into it as much. It's an okay card game. The problem is that if you play against anybody who knows what they're doing in this game, you're absolutely going to get creamed. It's very luck of the draw as to the cards you get. There's definitely an emphasis on the shipping strategy being the strongest thing here. I mean, if you try to just get a bunch of good cards, you will not win. It does seem to be very much that. And I will really only want to play this at 2-player, because 2-player, you have that, will they take the action? I don't know. Are they going to settle, develop? I don't know. But the problem is, when you've got 4 players, you can just assume most of the actions are going to happen because there's too many of you in the mix. So 4 players just feels more chaotic. But it's a quick game. It's short, so it doesn't take up too much time. The artwork and the graphic design is boring as hell. But, it's a fine game. But I never really got into it. I just play it every now and again when a certain group of mates want to play it, really. Kingdom Death Monster, not played, can't really say much more. I mean, one of the biggest Kickstarter hits of all time, maybe the Kickstarter hit of all time, I can't remember, but I got no interest in playing it. I mean, big miniature campaign game that was vastly probably overhyped, vastly expensive, and it's just not in my wheelhouse. I can't understand why this is ranked this high, because this is only played by a niche group of people who could afford this or can even get hold of it. So why is it considered one of the best games of all time? 85, Crew for Quest of Planet 9. I still love the Crew. I love trick-taking games, and I think the Crew is another great example of a good little trick-taking game, co-op. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's totally fine. I completely get it. It is a very esoteric type game, but it's one I really enjoy. Trying to work together with the rest of you in silence, only using these special rules and that in order to hint, right, we need you to play these cards, we've got to win these tricks, so-and-so's got to win that card and that, and it's just really cool. It's light, it's easy. I prefer the Deep Sea one. I think the Deep Sea one is the definitive Crew. I hear there's a family one now, which is kind of weird, because it's not like the game was that complicated before, but what do I know? But I'm not interested in making it even more family friendly. I just think Mission Deep Sea is probably the definitive one, and it's the one on my shelf. I really love this game. It's just hard to find good players who actually understand how to play it. That's the biggest problem with this. Okay, what else we got? 84, Mechs vs. Minions. Never played it, and I've never seen anyone play it. Why is this in the top 100? I don't get it. This was Riot Games. It looks gorgeous, yes, fine. It's produced well for a cheap price, but nobody talks about this game anymore. So why is it like this high on the Board Game Geek top 100? The problem is these games fall out of fashion, but they don't fall down the list fast enough. I don't believe for a second that Mechs vs. Minions should be regarded as one of these great top 100 games. Nobody's playing it. No, I never see this played at conventions. I never see this played at game nights. Nobody I know even owns it. This is not a game that should be this high in the Board Game Geek listing. And I'm probably going to be a broken record at this point talking about this kind of thing. But I mean, I would try it, but I'm not that interested to find out more. It's a one-off cool production, and maybe that's what got so much hype for it. All right, what do we got? 83, The White Castle. I mean, it's an okay game. I gave it a 7 out of 10. It's probably one of the better games that Endeavour Games have put out, because most of the time, the problem is Endeavour Games put out a lot of meh games. They put out too many games. There's like about 5 or 6 of them every year, and they all end up just being meh or above average or sometimes terrible. And the problem is that they should spend more time developing 1 or 2 great games, not just bringing out every last game under the sun. This is one of the better ones, though. You know, a cool sort of dice action selection game, but it's super tight, super punishing if you get blocked out of spaces. The solo mode is damn near impossible, and there's no variety in the game. You know, I mean, yeah, you switch around a few actions and some dice colors. Whoopee-doo. You know, that's not really adding to the variety that much. The game is fine. It's a absolute nightmare trying to pack it back in its box, because Endeavour Games don't understand the concept of a box size. But, you know, which is, again, very frustrating when you buy any of their games. They never fit in the box. It's an okay game, but I played it and I enjoyed it fine. I gave it a 7. For me now, it would probably be a 6. It's just, the problem is there's not enough variety to keep it fresh each time. And once you've played it a few times, you've kind of seen all there is to it. And it just kind of left the wayside at that point. It doesn't stand the test of time. We got Agricola, the revised edition. Is Agricola further up the list? Curious. Yeah, Agricola's further up the list. I mean, again, a revised edition and a new edition. This is the system broken. I don't know if I've played the revised edition. I might have done once, but at the end of the day, it's Agricola, so we'll just talk about Agricola now and skip it later on. But yeah, I like Agricola-ish, up to a point. The thing is, I love the farming theme. I like the occupation cards. They're unbalanced, but I like them. The problem I have with Agricola is that it is too tight. It's way too punishing. You have to get kids. If you don't get kids, you will not win the game. And it is nigh impossible to get kids in a high player game sometimes. It's so resource tight. And I hate the fact that you are capped on points with each of the things that you need, meaning that your farm looks the same as everybody else's at the end of the day, because if you don't get that 1 carrot, you lose a ton of points. And I don't like the fact that you have all these negative points everywhere. I mean, when the Agricola comes out, I think I might have backed it, actually. I think I did back the new one by Awakened Realms, because A, it looks gorgeous. You know, it is a lovely production. It's got so much content in it that it will keep me going for days. And I'm only buying the deluxe version. Just the deluxe version on its own. I'm not buying a ton of the add-on stuff, because why would you need it? There's so much content in that deluxe version. But I want to give this one another chance, because I do like bits of it. I do love farming-themed games, but man, so tight, so punishing. Maybe they'll tweak some of the rules in the Awakened Realms version to make it a little bit friendlier. I don't know. Or maybe after so many years have passed, I'll like it and appreciate it more. Worst case scenario, I just sell my copy off. But I wanted to see it again. So we'll see whether this one can rekindle itself for me. All right, let's take another drink. Man, this is going to take a while. Android Netrunner 81. I used to play this like crazy. Don't anymore. It's now kind of reached the end of its cycle. It's mostly fan content now. It's a great game. I love it as a 2-player game, but dare you go to a tournament with this one? I mean, Christ, this one actually put me off tournaments, because when you put like money or like a glory or whatever on the line, people turn into different players. Players turn into different people when they play tournaments. So it's no longer about having fun. It's about winning and crushing your opponent as best as possible. I mean, just trying to have a little conversation with people at a UK Games Expo tournament was met with such disdain by people I was playing against. And it's just like, really? This is the sort of people I'm playing with? I mean, it's not as bad as Magic players when they get into tournaments sometimes, but yeah, man, I mean, I was really put off. But I love the system in this game, playing a corporation versus a hacker, and both players being asymmetric in how they feel. I don't have time to play this anymore. Or, I wouldn't have time to deck build. I would only play starter decks if this was around now. But yeah, I remember having good times with this. Just not anymore. Star Wars Imperial Assault 80. Good game. It's a dudes on the map campaign game, but I think I'm done with these sort of games. I mean, up to a point. Occasionally I'll play some of these, but I'd rather they were just like one-off scenarios, easy ones. This one could easily be quite exploited with some of the rules. It had very big difficulty spikes. It's good. I preferred Lords of the Rings Journeys to Middle-earth, honestly, with this sort of game. I think that was a better game overall, but this was still fun. It's just yeah, I'm not as big on these types of games anymore, but it was good for its time, so I'll give it some credit. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to go a bit faster. Maracaibo, I gave this a review ages ago. I can't remember what gave it. 7 or 6 maybe. Maybe a 7. It definitely would be about a 6 now. It's okay. And I like the card system in this game. Unfortunately, everything else is bone dry, like you wouldn't believe, and I don't like the way this ship, what is it? The one where you got these 3 different nations and you build up their flags or whatever, banners. I don't like that mechanic. I thought that was weird, but I like the card system in this game. But the length of the game being dictated weirdly by players and it could just end really abruptly, it had some problems. And the whole solo thing didn't make sense thematically. I mean, it tried to tell a story for this dry Euro game, but it didn't make any sense because it claimed stuff like, oh yeah, every time the ship goes around the board, it's like 5 years have passed or something like that. I can't remember the exact figure. But you go around and the story element says, you met this lovely girl on an island, you'll come see her soon. In 5 years, because by the time you come back round again, all that time's passed. What, she's just sat there and waited? I mean, what? It doesn't make any sense. But this game doesn't get played that much anymore. People have tried the new one, the little spin-off one, the smaller version. That's half decent, but again, it's dry, it exists, but it doesn't really appeal to me as much. This is an okay game, but I think it's kind of done and dusted now. Ticket to Ride Legacy of the West. Go check out my 2 videos I did for this one. This is not a great game. I know some people love it, but some people hated it as well. This might have put me off Legacy games for, in fact, I think it did. This combined with Divinus put me off Legacy games for a long time, possibly even for life. This one just does not work. It had highly unbalanced point scoring cards or abilities in here. It had an antagonist that barely had any impact on the game whatsoever, despite the game constantly rabbiting on about her. It's Ticket to Ride with extra steps. Some of the bits worked, but for the most part, it was just playing through the motions for a long time until you get to some randomized, ridiculous score at the end of like 1,600 points or whatever. And it's just like, what was the point? You know, I'd rather just play a normal Ticket to Ride game. Did not like this one at all. But check out my videos to explain why, because you kind of need to know the detail. All right, The Gallerist 77. Fine game. I love it. Yeah, I like this game. This is one of my favorite Laserders. Probably my second favorite Laserder. It's smooth. It's probably the most streamlined of all the Laserders, which I know is weird to say given that it's a Laserder game, but this one just seems to click so much more with players in terms of its rules, what you do and everything. The graphic design is great, and I like this game. I like the theme, you know, like publicizing artists and selling them in your gallery, and you know, the economics of that, and I quite like it. It's produced brilliantly. This is one of the first sort of Eagle Griffin you know, versions of a Lacerda game. But yeah, every time I play this, it's easy for me to relearn the rules to it again. It seems like one of the easiest pick-up Lacerdas that there is. It's not my favorite Lacerda. I think that one will be coming up later. But yeah, I do really like this game. This is just a really solid Lacerda, and I don't see it being played enough. All right, Le Havre. A half-decent Uri Rosenberg game, but easily exploited. I hate the interest system in this, the loan interest. No matter how many loans you have, you pay 1 franc interest with all the loans. It's too exploitative. You can take out so many loans, get such an acceleration on your board game state, and then pay them all off at the end because you've just earned so much easily. Friends, somebody I used to know did the exact same thing in the last game we played. It worked out exactly that way. Took 1 million loans. Barely noticed the difference, accelerated like crazy, and you just couldn't stop him. So, you know, a simple house rule. Just say 1 franc per loan. You know, the way that loan debt works in reality. You know, maybe a little bit of theme would be nice. You know, it's like, man. But, I hate that how that's a rule. But yeah, Le Havre's got some cool stuff in it, but it's too easily broken. All right, 70. All right, you know what? I don't think I can do. Can I do 50? Oh God, I'm only at 75. There's a lot. There's a lot here. There's a lot. But I need more topics. I need more stuff to do. I'm gonna do it. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. Right. So stop moaning. Paladins of the West Kingdom 75. This one is my least favorite of the West Kingdom trilogy. Yes, I know people will have my head off for that, but it's fine. but I'd probably rate it a 6 now. I rated it an 8 at first. It sort of appealed to me to begin with, and then I realized, oh wait, every game is kind of the same old, same old. Pick 2 of these actions and spam them to death. Super dry. I know Garfield games aren't the most thematic games in the world, but this one, I don't know, this one just lost steam with me. Much like Dune Imperium, it sort of impressed me at first and then quickly lost its steam very fast. And so this is my black sheep of the West Kingdom trilogy. Architects and Viscounts, far better, but some people just seem to like Paladins for some reason. But I mean, I can see why, but it's really a solo game. There is no reason to play this multiplayer at all, and I'd much rather play the other games, frankly. So this one just doesn't have a place for me. Clans of Caledonia, still not played this. I'm not the biggest Terra Mystica fan, though, and I know this is kind of based upon Terra Mystica, or at least has some similarities to it. But, I mean, the theme seems cool, although, well, the setting is cool. I hear the theme means nothing, much like these games. Is it any good? I don't know. I'd like to try it, but I'm not that excited to go and find it. It does sometimes turn up at conventions or at game nights, but, I mean, it sort of looks alright. People have blinged their copies up and stuff. I don't know if I would like it or not, but I'm not going to put too much faith in that, but I haven't tried it, so I can't say much more. Quacks of Quedlinburg, although it's now called Quacks because it has one of the worst art covers in the world. I mean, look at this artwork. That is terrible. Look at that. What was wrong with the... I mean, the original one was a sort of beige Euro style thing, but at least it looked clean and stuff. This one is just god-awful art. I'm sorry, it just really is bad. And it doesn't explain as much. I don't know. It's just a bad art. But anyway, Cracks of Quedlinburg. It's fine. I mean, I like it okay, but the problem is it takes longer than it should do to finish. It really does seem to drag on a bit. And I like the customization you can do with all these different ingredients. I mean, are these real ones or are these fan-made? No, some of these are real. I haven't played every expansion, so I don't know all of them. But yeah, I mean, I really like I think some of this is fan-made. But yeah, I mean, I like aspects of it. But the problem is, push your luck bag builders I have a problem with, because it's luck of the draw at the end of the day. It's push your luck. So your decisions don't seem to feel meaningful in a push your luck game, because at the end of the day, luck could hose you. It could be, you could build the most efficient bag in the world and still bust because you drew badly. So your decisions don't really impact that, apart from just influencing probabilities. So I don't get as much of a kick out of that. But, some people do. But the new artwork, garbage. Harmony 72. I like this game. This is a neat game. I would probably rather play something like Cascadia, I mean, they're different games, but it's kind of that same weight level. But it's a solid game. You build up this little, display of all these different token discs of terrain, and you've got the cards that you try to arrange them in certain patterns, and you restrict yourself without realizing, and then curse yourself forever for it. I do find that going for these cards with the high points doesn't seem to net you many victories, though. I find that every time I win this game, it's purely because I've maximized the scoring for just general placement of the tokens, the ones where you put mountains in certain ways and forests in certain ways. I find that wins me the points, and the cards are just a little addition. But I don't know, maybe other people will differ on that. But I really enjoy this game. It's solid. It's not one that I've been desperate to own, so I guess I like it, but I don't love it. But yeah, I could get why it's a very popular game. It is solid. 71 Power Grid. Hate this game with a passion. Hate this game with a passion. La la la. Hate this game with a passion. It is boring. It is dull. It is tight. It is punishing. It is mean. It is vindictive. It takes forever to go through any auctions. Don't like this game. This is one of the first games I started hating when I got into gaming, because everybody was at certain clubs was playing it. They always wanted to play it. I hate the idea that you got to cover up half the map with tissue paper just because you're playing with less players, because if you leave them there, it's too easy to actually get mixed up as to which territory you're allowed to go in that. I don't get this game at all. I just don't like it. It's dull, boring, punishing, vindictive. Don't like it. Don't like Power Grid. Bye-bye. Zolkin the Mayan Calendar. Cool idea, cool concept. In practice, an okay game. It's fine, but the AP nature of these wheels is ridiculous, and trying to plan ahead for where these wheels are going to be at any particular time is a logistical nightmare. But it is a cool idea, and I gotta give respect to the cojones you must have had in order to design a mechanism like this. It is definitely one that should be labeled as a wow, this was something unique and cool. But The game itself is kind of, I mean, the problem is that you've got this really cool mechanism with all the wheels, and then what it really boils down to is get a few resources and build some building tiles and level up some tracks. It's kind of weird. It's like the mechanism, the complex nature of all these wheels doesn't seem to tally up to everything else you're doing in the game. But it is a solid game. I still think it's good. It's, you know, CGE, I think did I don't know, is it Rio Grande or CGE that did this first? But it's a cool game. I would play it again, maybe, just to sort of see if I can give it another chance. But it's, like I say, I like it. I think I respect the idea of it more than I like the game. But it's okay. Alright, Mansions of the Madness 2nd edition, 69. This is definitely the Mansions of the Madness you should own. Not the 1st edition, but also I think this is the Arkham Horror game you should own. I love Arkham Horror LCG, fine. But Arkham Horror and Eldritch Horror, I've just gone off them now. I've sold my Eldritch Horror. I'm this close to selling my 3rd edition Arkham Horror, frankly. But Mansions of the Madness 2nd edition is the one to do, because you have the app that handles a lot of logistics. It creates the ambiance, but it's so quick to set the game up, because all you need to do is set up the introduction, and then the app takes you through everything else, and then you carry on playing. It could be a short scenario, a long scenario. I hate the fact that they stopped issuing out new stuff for this, but you can still play old stuff after a while and forget what was going on, so it is still really cool. I mean, if I revisit some of these scenarios, I'm not going to remember how they played out. It's going to be great. So I really like this. This is one of the best app to board game adaptations that there is, and I still think it's great. And it's still on my shelf, right over there, big box with lots of stuff in it. Although, don't use the miniatures. Use the tokens and the trays. Leave the miniatures in the bag. Never get them out again. They are garbage and they get in the way. Okay, Clank's Catacombs. It's a standalone expansion to the game. I've already said my piece on this. It shouldn't be on this list. Don't care. Pandemic Legacy Season 2. This one I liked more than my friends did. My friends were a bit more ho-hum on this one. I like the fact that it tried to do something different with the Pandemic thing rather than just reiterate Pandemic. But at the end of the day, Pandemic Season 1 was the better game. Overall, it had the better story, it had better stuff. This one, I still liked its unique idea, but it really did drop the ball in its ending. The ending was terrible in how that played out. But I like the fact that this map evolved and you could go off and explore different areas and stuff. You know, it was a neat idea. But for some reason, the mates didn't latch on as much to it. Okay, fine. Let's take another drink. It's going to be a long video, guys. Deal with it. Right. Grand Austria Hotel, 66. It's fine, but the problem is you can't play this above 3 players because it takes freaking forever to play it. The downtime is sickening because it's got that kind of snake style where, like, you might go first in one round, but then you might go last in the next, and as a result, you could be waiting forever before your next turn. It seems to be alright as long as you're in 3 players or less, but the second you go to 4, or can this one even do 5, it just becomes an absolute slogfest. Although even then, I think at 3 players, it still becomes a bit of a slog at times. Really, it says best 2. This is a 2-player game, frankly. And it's an okay game. I mean, you know, it's dry as a bone, but it's got a cool dice little system in it. It's relatively straightforward. It's just probably a bit too dry for my taste. And I say, I don't really get 2-player games to the table, so I'm not that desperate to want to have this. But for what it is, it's fine. But they really needed to sort out that turn order thing, because that really screwed it for me. Obsession. I never thought I would like this game, but for some reason it's still on my shelf, although I think it is suffering from bloat because I've got expansions for this game, and wow, it's a nightmare to try and remember how to play this game. The rule books for these games were never good, and it's just kind of all over the place. It really needed a condensed rule book and, I know, an easy play system, but the fact that I enjoy this one, despite the theme being something that I hate. I hate stuff like Downton Abbey. I loathe Pride and Prejudice. I had to read it as part. It was the main one we had to study for English Literature GCSE. We had to read it out in class, and we had to watch that stupid 6-hour serial with Colin Firth and what's her name or whatever. It's like, I hate this story. I hate this setting. But for some reason, I can play this and have a laugh because you can laugh at the theme. You know, the fact that I'm, you know, hosting tea parties for various toffs, or having a game of croquet, or, you know, the girls are having their day in, or Mr. Darcy wants to befriend this person or something. It's like, you can, the theme is cheesy, but it's represented well, and I think it's just the fact that I can have a laugh with the theme. Some people could take it seriously, but I just have fun with it. Maybe it's because I also remember probably one of my favourite bits from Red Dwarf, which is Crichton in a virtual reality Pride and Prejudice thing, getting all uptight that nobody wants to go to his dinner thing. So he basically goes around their simulation of Pride and Prejudice and starts assassinating all the characters, like in more ways than one. And eventually it all ends up him going, you know what, I'm just going to borrow the tank from a World War II game. And he just blows up the gazebo that they're in with the classic line of, it's like, I said supper is ready. Boom. It's so good. I think, have I reviewed Obsession? I think I have. And I think I definitely used the clip in that review, so by all means check it out and see for yourself. But further than that, see if you can find it on YouTube if you can't find it, or watch one of the repeats if it's on. You know, Red Dwarf, Pride and Prejudice World, or whatever, watch it. It's such a good laugh. And I think it's just because I hate the setting so much that seeing Crichton going around and assassinating all the characters just gave me life. Sleeping God 64, still on my shelf. I still think this is a really good sort of solo campaign game. Good campaign game with a really great story and open-ended world. Better than Vantage in my opinion. The only problem with this game is that you have to control so many goddamn characters by yourself, it becomes a bit of a logistical nightmare. So this is better played as a multiplayer campaign, and as such, I don't know if this copy is going to stay on my shelf much longer, because I don't think I'll have the time and the patience to play it solo again. But I did enjoy my time with it. I thought it was a cool game and a cool system, but I think it's like, for me, it's a 1-2 through playthrough, and then I'm kind of done, really. So, do I want to go through it a third time? Not so sure, unless they come up with some simplified rules for how to play it solo, but man, do you have to control so many characters when you play this game normally. It's just a bit much. I haven't played Distant Skies, but I don't have much. I mean, it's another long campaign game. You know where I stand on these right now. Lisboa 63, probably my fourth favorite Lacerda game. It's a cool game. Do really like it. It's on my shelf right behind me, but it's definitely, I think, my fourth favorite. It's definitely more mechanical than some of the other ones, even though the theme does sort of make sense. The graphic design is hit and miss for me. I get the art style, but I think it kind of makes it a little bit harder to visualize what the hell is supposed to be doing what on this board. Some of the rules, particularly with this grid of the buildings and what building does what and what cubes you're allowed and stuff, are a bit fiddly. It's hard to remember. You've got this rule brochure of all the different rules you got to remember, and it's just hard to get back into this one, which is why it's certainly down on my list. You know, it's my fourth favorite. I still really like it. It's on my shelf. I love it more for the card system, though. I love this card system that you get these cards, you can get new ones, upgrade them and place them into your portfolio, creating like cool effects with your player board and stuff. I really like that stuff. I'm not as big a fan of the whole grid system with the buildings, and that is a good chunk of the game. But you know, it's a cool game. It's just, oh man, every time this gets brought out again, I got to relearn it because it's just not it's not intuitive. In no way is it intuitive. It's got a lot of little niche rules that you need to know, and it's just like, it's not as bad as on Mars, though. Blimey, on Mars. I expect we'll get to that a bit later. Right, Swan into the Deep Wood. I've done a full review on this, 62. It's a decent game, actually. I enjoyed it, and I think some of the cool things about the fact that you go through a choose-your-own-adventure style bit, and then you get to the boss battle, and what you do in the adventure influences the boss battle. I thought that was really cool. The artwork in this is drop-dead friggin' gorgeous. I like the mechanic with the characters and how you do combat and stuff. There is a lot going for this game. But man, you need to play with the retail version of this. Do not get the miniatures. They are stupidly oversized. They get in the way. The, standy versions are better. They are much better. But you've got a good variety with these characters. It just takes a while to get through the games, though. It's definitely a lengthy affair. Playing it solo is kind of tricky. It's a bit of a logistical nightmare to play it solo. It's probably better to play it as a multiplayer game. There's sort of way too much content, like too much for you to see, because it does make it quite bloated. But I did appreciate a lot that this game had, I mean, I rated it an 8. I thought it was a great experience. It's just one that's not practical to play through the entire thing. I mean, I didn't get to play through the whole campaign. I played for a decent chunk of it, enough to do a review, but there's no way I could finish it. It was just too much. Same with stuff like ISS Vanguard. Sometimes these campaign games just go too far. And unlike everyone else, I don't have all the time in the world to play them. Right. But a solid game, nonetheless. Agricola, we've already said my piece on that, so we'll skip that. Age of Innovation. This is the better version of Terra Mystica, in my opinion. It's more open-ended. It's got more options, especially with your starting setup. You can combine your starting race and powers a lot better. It's not like Terra Mystica, where you actually bid for which race you take because they're not balanced. I mean, people say that's a cool thing. That's just basically admitting your game is unbalanced. So why is that a positive thing? The problem is that, again, it's still dry. It can still be quite punishing. But the main issue I have with this particular one, even though I think it's the best of the Terra Mystica stuff, is that it's a bit too open-ended in some respects. You have these sideboards with all these different bonus tiles and that you can grab, all these different things you have. And if the normal game system wasn't hard enough to strategize and plan what the hell you're supposed to be doing, trying to gear yourself for all these different bonuses that you may or may not get during a game is just damn near impossible. You know, sometimes you might just get a bonus without even realizing it or something. It's a bit much. It's a little overwhelming. So, you know, it's definitely the better of the systems. But I'm not the biggest Terra Mystica fan anyway. You know, a lot of people like Gaia Project more. Nah, and I found that one a bit too fiddly as well. Blood Rage 59. This was definitely overrated for me. It was okay, but you know, the low-key strategy is just so dominating in this game. It does take a bit too long for what it is. It's dudes on a map fighting each other with a little mini drafting game in between. Cool Mini or Not has always been kind of an overrated publisher for me. I mean, I really enjoyed Rising Sun, but even I don't have that anymore. I've now realized just how bloated and overpriced a lot of their stuff is. You know, where it's all just miniatures and everybody likes the miniatures, and then the actual game is like, oh, flawed. You know, and Blood Rage is definitely one of those ones where it's like, oh, really cool miniatures, and it looks nice on the table, but the gameplay is like, huh. You know, it's just not as enticing. It's an okay game, but I was done with it a long time ago. I think this one is definitely overrated. I have played Rising Sun. I used to own it. I prefer that one. I like its theme better, but again, even that has flaws. I've recently played Ankh. Ankh is fine, but it's a slightly simplistic area control game, and the merge rule I don't think works. All right. What else we got? Anachrony. Wow, do I want to keep this game much longer? I do. I used to give this game a 10 out of 10. I used to say this was a fantastic Euro game. Like, brilliant. Love it, love it, love it. I think my rating's dropped quite considerably since then. I think this might be down to an 8. I don't think I can give it a seal of distinction anymore. I still think it's a great game. The problem is that it's just too much. Mindclash have a habit of just making games that are too much of a logistical bugbear, and this one is like takes the cake in some respects. It's not quite as bad as maybe the Perseverance stuff, but cool, blimey, this stuff is insane. And to get the most out of Anachrony, you need to play it with Fractures of Time, which makes it even more friggin' complicated. And now I've got this massive infinity box with all these mini expansions, none of which I ever want to include in the game. They all just make everything too complicated or not as good. So I've got all this content here that doesn't need to be used. It takes up most of a calyx square, and I never feel like I want to bring it out because that means I've got to relearn all these friggin' rules to try and teach people. And even then I don't see it played that often. I see it played every now and again, but I'd have to relearn it from scratch by now. The solo mode is a logistical nightmare, much like every Mindclash game is a solo logistical nightmare. Look, fair play to Turksy, he comes up with some cool designs and stuff, but Mindclash games are too complicated to make solo. It's just insane. But you know, the piloting the Chronosis bot in this and all the other bots in the other solo games. I mean, Perseverance, don't get me started on that one. The Perseverance solo bots were like learning 2 games to play the solo mode. It's like, no. You got to spend so much time with the AI in these. But it sounds like I'm ragging on the game. I do think the game theme is amazing, and I do love the the building stuff you can do, the worker placement system where you've got people in your buildings and people outside in the mechs. I like the asymmetry in this. I like the timeline system. It's like the best way to symbolize debt in a board game. With this cool time travel mechanic. It's got a lot of good stuff going for it, and the Fractures of Time being able to slip your mechs around and stuff is really cool as well. But even more complexity. It's just one that's never going to hit the table. And Tricarion is starting to catch it up a little bit. Like, Tricarion is just that little bit easier to get to the table than this one is. Even with, well, actually, I don't know. Dalgar's expansion is another load of complexity. But the base game of Tricarion is easier to get to the table than Anachrony is. And that is starting to push it more up in its favor. Still really like the game, but does it deserve to stay in my collection? I'm not so sure. If it ain't getting played, then why is it there? Right. On Mars, Lacerda. It's an okay game. I like the theming with this, like hopping between Mars and your space station, but this game is just way too freaking complicated and long. This is insane. This thing, like, blew the brains out of a friend of mine who normally is able to break most heavy games we shove in front of him, and yet this one drove him nuts. It's too much. There is just too much going on, too many niche rules. It's not intuitive. It's an okay-ish game looks-wise, but still not the best they've ever done. It's just too much, and it put me off, trying to review it and all that, because I mean, I think I reviewed it, yeah, but man, was it a chore to get it to that point. It's just too much. That's all I can really say about it. The theming of hopping between the space station and Mars is cool. Building up stuff on Mars wasn't that interesting. The stuff on your player board was a bit more interesting, but yeah, I guess that was it. The mechanics in the game, the theme and setting was cool, and I loved the planet hopping. But everything else was just kind of run-of-the-mill heavy Euro stuff, yet made stupidly long and complicated. So this one was a Lacerda game that I went, it's fine, but for the complexity it offered, not worth it. Not worth it at all. Right, Pandemic Legacy Season 056. This is the weakest of the three by far. By the time we got 2/3 of the way through this campaign, I wanted it to end. It has mechanics that I won't spoil, but it has mechanics thrown in that are just outright weird. I mean, they either are impossible or they break the system. They don't work. I mean, some of them you have to gun for immediately at the start of a game, because otherwise, if you don't, they are physically impossible to achieve. It looks terrible on the table. I mean, look at this. These little red miniatures and all this grey everywhere. It's I mean, come on, pay an artist, please. This one just had a lot of problems, and I liked it okay at first, but very quickly this one grated on me, and it's easily the weakest. I mean, Pandemic Legacy Season 1 was definitely like an 8 or 9 out of 10 when I played it. Pandemic Legacy Season 0 was, I think, a 7 out of 10 when I played it. This one, 4 or 5. I didn't enjoy this one. All right. This is them running out. This is like them showcasing that they've run out of ideas for Pandemic and really need to stop. Caverna of the Cave Farmers 55. I love this game. It is still on my shelf with Forgotten Folk. Don't buy the second expansion. I've reviewed it. It is garbage. But the one with the orcs. But this is a great game. It's kind of like the first step before like Fields of Arle in terms of a sandbox Euro. You don't have to get all the kids in the world to do well at this game. You can have 1 or 2 maybe and still do pretty damn well. You don't need a full-on family, but you get occasional negative points for stuff, but not much. But you still get to do all this stuff like grow corn and veg and breed all the animals and go adventuring and get all these buildings and go mining and stuff. You've got so many different strategies. Forgotten Folk opens up even more, and it's just a really great game. It's what I wanted Agricola to be. I would certainly be down for a revised version of this, though, to maybe tidy up a few aspects or just make it a little bit easier to get to the table. But yeah, still great. Cap it at 4 players. Definitely cap it at 4 players. But otherwise, it's a really solid game. Cascadia 54. Yes, love Cascadia. It is one of the quintessential like gateway games. I'm looking forward to this new spin-off one. I think it's called Alpine something. I can't remember, but this new version of Cascadia that's a bit more. I've got Life of the Amazonias from a different publisher, which kind of feels like the heavy Cascadia. But yeah, it's just a fantastic gateway game. What more do I need to say? If you've not heard of Cascadia, then what cave have you been living in? This game is just fantastic. It works so well. It is streamlined. It can be made family-friendly or gamer-friendly. It looks great. Simple rules. Pleasant. It's just a brilliant gateway game. What more do I need to say? It is probably in my top 3, if not favorite, game to use for gateway game purposes, because it just ticks all the boxes. It's a fantastic design. And what else do I need to say? It's Cascadia. End of story. Right. Just a few more. Cthulhu Death May Die. Never played it. I would try it. Again, this is one of those games that I just don't think should be on the BGG Top 100, because I think this is just an expensive Kickstarter that everybody just went, oh yeah, look at the fancy miniatures. Oh look, it cost me £1 million. I should justify my purchase. But I don't think this is a game that deserves to be this high on the Top 100, just purely based on that. I mean, it looks okay. I've heard some weird things about this system. But, I mean, I would try it. I would like to try it. But it's definitely a try before I buy thing. But I think Cool Mini or Not games just get super inflated in terms of their hype train. And, when Eric Lang designs something, everybody goes nuts. I can't remember the last game that Eric Lang has designed that I particularly thought was that great. XCOM? And how long ago was that? And even then, I haven't played that in a while. So, yeah. Not really something I'm that desperate to try. Next up, 52, Puerto Rico. an okay game, I'd much rather play San Juan. I don't like playing Puerto Rico with anyone who knows the game well because A, they will decimate you, and B, there are some people who scoff. I mean, look at this guy. This guy looks like he's like, how dare you take a picture of me? Thing is, this is the kind of people I come across who play Puerto Rico. People who basically scorn you because this guy's got the face that a lot of these Puerto Rico players have, where the ones who know the game so well that they know that they want to sit next to certain people because if they sit after or before certain people, their game is likely to be ruined as a result because the other player might not know the best way to react to stuff. When you get to that level in a board game, I don't want to play games with you. I'm sorry. That is taking things way, way too friggin' far. It's not a looker. It's come out with so many revised versions, each of which either gets a controversial response or just ends up with some stupid production error or rules error or something. They just can't seem to get this game right. And the game itself, even in its original form, was fine. Play San Juan. It's a boiled down card game version of this, and it's just infinitely better. And finally, PAX Premier 2nd Edition. This is the weird one, actually, because I have actually played this. I've only played it the once. I'm not normally a PAX fan. PAX Renaissance, I think, was okay. I haven't really had I played some PAX... What was it called? It's Mexican Cartel one or Mexican Civil War one? I can't remember what it's called. PAX Pornofiana or something. I'm not sure. But I played that one, and that was okay as a card system. This one... It was intriguing. I mean, the whole factions thing, where you could sort of jump loyalties between the different factions, that was pretty cool. And I think that's kind of my appeal with these PAX games, that you can sort of chop and change loyalties a lot. The card system, I didn't know anything about this settings, or I never read all this flavor text stuff on here, but if you want to learn, you learn. I don't recognize any of these places. I don't recognize any of these people, so it's like, what is this going on? The card system was fine. I didn't like the fact that people could really screw over your cards or nick them, or I can't remember. Did they nick them or cover them? I can't remember. But, I didn't like the sort of vindictive nature that had on the game. But the changing loyalties and the fact that it's in a small box with a cloth mat and some cool pieces, it's produced pretty well. It was intriguing. I can't remember if I won or not. But I left the game going, that was interesting. No, I didn't know if I liked it or disliked it. But I went like, that was interesting. It was different. It felt like a unique game that I hadn't played in other respects before. I would like to try this one again, but I don't know if I desperately want to do it, because the problem is that I just don't give one iota about this setting. And so if I can't get immersed in the theme, then there's only so much I can do with my enjoyment of this. But it has made me try other PAX games. I mean, PAX Funnilia or whatever, and PAX Renaissance, I tried. I still think PAX Renaissance is my preferable of the lot. It's a bit of a quicker game. I like the map system in that, as well as the card system. So that one probably gets my vote. But, if you twisted my arm and said, look, people really want to try this, there's nothing else on, everybody's on the table at a convention, and there are people I know that are friendly in the group, you could convince me to give this one another try and see if I would enjoy it more. But the setting is not going to win me over. It's purely based on mechanics at this point. But also this guy Cole, isn't this the guy that... Yeah, this is the thing. This guy gets a lot of, praise from the community because he's made certain other games that everybody likes. But I'm not as big on this guy because I've not played John Company. I have no intention to. Oath, again, no intention to. I've played Root. It's fine, but it's very easily unbalanced and requires too much of a... It's a fragile system. Arcs, didn't like Arcs, a 5 out of 10, check out my review for that one. Arcs has got some stuff I like, but it's got a lot of problems with it as well. What else we got? Root. I mean, it's all basically just... I mean, that's the thing. He basically did Root, Oath, and Arcs. Most people will never play Oath in their entire lifespan. A lot of people won't play Arcs in their entire lifespan. But apparently the guy just has such a following, it's kind of ridiculous, where does this following come from? It's just mega fans of those two games, and that's it. Well, 2 games is not enough for me to declare anybody as a mega fan. You gotta release more games for me to see, and even then, Root's fine, but fragile, and Arcs I didn't like, so I don't get excited when he makes stuff, but it's quite interesting to see just the amount of, almost Jesus-like imagery that comes with this guy when it comes to some games. Some designers are like that. Anyway, that's it. And at 1 hour 26, my throat is sore. I need to wrap this up and get on with other things today. This is an early morning one, thank God. But thank you, Matt, for this idea. It's interesting to talk about these games, and even though they are brief thoughts, you get some idea about it. But next time I won't do a big introduction, because I think it took me 20 minutes to get through the introduction and what was going on and stuff. Next session, I think I'll just literally get through a very brief introduction and just get on with the 50 through to 1. But yeah, we'll talk about that in 2 weeks' time, later in August. So thank you for tuning in. Hope that was enjoyable. Catch you on the next Broken Meeple video. Stuff that, like I said, the South Tigris expansion videos. Give me a while to get those done. I will eventually do a speed review of Popcorn by Yellow Games. That is on my agenda. I can get that one recorded soon. Maybe I'll do more digital plays when I can stop cocking up on the microphone and the visual issues. That would be great. And maybe if somebody wants to help me with a tier maker thing, I could probably do a top, my favorite maps for Art Nova as a first tier maker list. I would like to try it as a live stream. I think it could be quite good fun, but how do I do it? There is that. But yeah, more stuff to come in the future. So take care, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you in the next Broken Meeple video. Take care, remember, it's only a game. Bye for now, everyone.